there is a lot of psychic weather. I'm feeling it. I started feeling it in that null day on the day in between the eclipses. And I don't know what this is, but I don't feel at home in myself. So there, it doesn't matter where you live if you're not at home in yourself. And so I got back from that trip and I'm like, I don't really fit here anymore.
Mm.
And I was really relating to Yesenia's like cutting, using these scissors. Well, when you start to do this thing and you're not really relating to where you live anymore, and then you stop having activity that you're doing here, very limited. Do I have stuff that I'm doing here? I do have some really, really good connections, but there's nowhere to go if you can't get the core of where you're not feeling comfortable. Like, so when that mouse showed up, that's like me, like, like not feeling comfortable. Like where is that place that you find that's home? Like that's truly home. And then it's like, does anyone really have that? Like, this is where I am, and this is like, my forever home or
Right.
something. So my PAG has just been like, just nonstop, like feeling like that feeling of you can be anywhere. You can be in the most beautiful place in the whole entire world, but you don't have a home in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and so then you're kind of always looking out there for, is this my tribe? Is this where I belong? Is this what? Is this what? What is it? It's like there's this like lack of, it's not the outside, it's something on the inside that feels lost. And so I brought that here today because it was like so potent. And then, each little trigger comes in, like you talk to this person and then, I have a reoccurring thing in this town where there's a nepotism, and then there's, I went on this Peru journey, and one of the people that owns a lot of the property in this town also went on it. And it's like there's a club and I'm not in it. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not really from here. I don't have that Cajun culture thing, and I think I threaten people.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
So, there's the friend that I had a breakdown with, and then I find out that she's at the birthday party here in town and didn't tell me she was in town. That kind of thing. You're
Oh,
like, what am I doing here?
yeah.
Oh, honey.
That cut. Yeah.
Trust. And then what it is people pleasing. People don't want to just come out and be fucking real.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's all this like codependent people pleasing. Like, I don't really need to be invited to that party. I don't really relate to the woman that was having that party, but it just happens to be in my little tiny town, and I'm like,
Yeah.
why is it always in my little tiny town? And then I'm like, you're not really included in that. And I think I'm friends with people. I think I'm like, when I did a lot of work, Peru was a lot of work. And then to be like, oh, well, you're just not included in that.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm just struggling with that, like coming home from a huge journey and like, well, you come home to what? Like a place where you don't really fit anymore?
How do you feel when you're on the road? Did you feel this? I want to use the word hollow because when
That's a good word.
I don't even know if that is the word. I'm just trying to guess. Did you feel the same when you were with yourself on the road, or is this more of a you've come back and now the house is reflecting on it and showing you that?
It's actually it's always there. This
Okay,
is like always there.
good. So if anything, what's happening is you've just got the volumes a little bit louder on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
So it's always there. It's always like, well, like I'm always kind of thinking, well, if you had somebody to do this with, then that would be really fun.
Yeah.
But I had a person, and then all I did was focus on that what wasn't working over there.
Yeah.
instead of like what was not working inside of here, you know? It's
Yeah.
just like there's this hollow comfortability inside of myself that just amplified when I got back.
Yeah.
It was there, but then it went, so that's that's where I'm at right now.
Well, I don't mean to say that I know exactly how you feel, but I feel like I know how you feel. And I feel like I went through that for like 2 decades. In other words, I just thought that was me for a long time. I just thought this is just what life was, and I just was gonna feel this way all the time. And I was constantly feeling like my hometown was throwing me out, or people that I thought we were hanging, I thought we were friends, just didn't were always excluding me, were always weird stuff. Like, why this sounds so petty. I could hear how this would sound petty, but it's like, why I'm asking my friend Mary, so you started a catering business, and during this entire operation, it never occurred to you once to tell me or ask me if I could help, or if there's anything I could do. Just like really basic, like, or your friends are now in a band and you're like,
What happened?
what? And you don't know why until you're willing to admit that you're fucking intimidating. Ugh. And what sucks is when you realize it, it doesn't help. It doesn't, it doesn't help to realize this. It doesn't help. All it does is increase your compassion for other people, for why they might feel you're intimidating. That's about the only constructive thing is it does is that. And maybe you've reached a new frontier where you're never going to feel that way outside in relation to others. And I don't give a shit about how you feel outside in relation to others. I want you to feel good inside, because I know that that's ultimately that's going to be the thing that's going to do better. And when I found that, I bought this house. It was the first time I ever felt that. And I moved up here and no one was around. And it's not that I need to be alone. It's that I had such a permeable membrane, Lori, that I could not be in Asheville and find myself. I was just too fluid. And once I got here, my life did not emotionally improve for a while, but all my other states did. All of my other things improved first. And after those improved, then I noticed my emotional state just was on fire. I was just so fucking happy and successful. But it happened in that way. And I don't know if it's related. I don't mean to even make this about you. I just think it's so important that you own up to how how intimidating your visor is going to be. Just your eyes are open and they put out a lot of heat, and people are going to feel that. And it's part of them tuning you into the shaman role, into that role, into that they may not need that, but they know that Gaia is pushing you're being pushed into that role just because of your consciousness. Just because of just how much you're expecting honesty, how much you're expecting authenticity, how much you're expecting just straight to the cut, no bullshit kind of a thing. And so you end up being a loner, but the loner is really the only way that you be forging this kind of pollen. And it could be that we isolate ourselves because we're just trying to produce pollen while we're here, that we see the things that are necessary to keep us in that state. It's part of how we own ourselves without knowing that we're owning ourselves. I don't know. I'm just kind of grasping at straws, honestly.
Well, good straws. Um,
Good ones.
I really kind of think feeling into that never, like, putting my website on Reclaim Belonging, somebody asked me if I was trying to belong to somebody's unclaimed baggage. And I would say that's true. It would be like anything to belong to something that was a distraction to not belong to myself.
Mm-hmm.
So culturally here, I belong to a lot of things. Like I was like a really into the music community. I did a jam every week. I was like playing music. I was singing. I was dancing. I'm an artist. I'm involved in a huge art community. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I don't really belong anywhere. It's like it's I don't really it was like yeah. So it doesn't really matter where I go either. It's like I could go to another town and it would still be, here I am, the same kind of
I,
um, mouse inside of me.
I
So,
wonder if it would be different if you were always the one that was the 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 s- the instigator, the the center, the if you were the owner of the music group, if you were the person that was hosting the party, if you were the chief, it could be that. If I go to Facebook and I just post an opinion, I completely forget that I carry a lot of energetic weight when I put my opinion down. I have no fucking, I am just naive as fuck on purpose. It benefits me. And I treat that ignorance because I want to stay authentic and have a good message. And a lot of times I have no clout, so don't worry. It's like, sometimes I don't even have it, like I have no pull at all. So, I'm in my britches on this, but I do know that sometimes I just forget and I say something and someone gets really mad and I could abuse myself in the victimhood of that and say I'm being treated unfair. But ultimately, I'm the one that's treating myself unfair because I'm just not seeing myself properly. I'm just not seeing how I measure up, how I match up with everyone. And you end up maybe maybe emulating a kind of imposter syndrome. I'm just saying how it might smell to someone else is that they sense that you're, for lack of a better term, they sense you're an alpha pretending to be a beta. Like they sense,
Yeah.
and I think that's probably happens to me. So I could just be projecting myself onto this, but I really do think that there's some. It took me a while to realize that if I was to go out and say the same thing, but on my own live stream, it would be received totally different than if I'm here in the comments writing a passionate response to someone that maybe it doesn't look like I agree, but I'm just being passionate in a reply. That's it. There's not a bit of animosity. There's not you suck. It's just, hey, have you considered the blah 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 blah? Strong point one, strong point two, strong point three, hammer four, and the whole time I don't realize that's what it sounds like. I don't realize that I'm sort of stepping on this person's song and trying to say I cover it better and all that. I'm immune to because I'm leading with blind ignorance. It's one of my biggest strengths. And I don't know if I would ever even try to fit into a community if I couldn't do that, Lori. If I couldn't lie to myself up front and just step out there and just start playing.
I was thinking, Lori, that you can't find your tribe because you're supposed to lead a tribe.
Yeah. That's a very much shorter, conciser, clearer way of saying what I just said. Thank you.
I have a habit of that.
What Dev said.
just like the question is like, I feel like I just want to blow my life up and just like exit. It's just like there's so much baggage and weight. There's the ex-husband that lives two doors down that way with the fiddle shop,
Yeah.
and then there's all of these 20-year relationships of dancing and playing music. And I just feel like I'm in the Asheville, you know what I mean? I'm just there.
Yeah.
And it's just such a uh leading the tribe when you're kind of like the freak show and ostracized
Yeah.
in the town.
Hmm.
That's kind of like it's like
Yeah.
I'm already kind of no one understood what the hell, what I blew up and why I blew it up. Most of the people that I know just kind of stay,
Mm.
they just stay.
Yeah.
And it's hard to even like, how would you start a tribe? Like do the fire with just myself?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, honey. I get it.
I think a lot of us are because we're budding and we're just entering into different phases. And I think part of it, Lori, could just be a geographical. You can't erase that canvas.
Where were you born?
You can't do that, right? So you're going to have to. If you're struggling with that, I think that it's more than human, and it's a sign of self-respect. If that is it, to say I can't be here. This is my Asheville. I need to go to the mountain where no one is, and I need to see what happens. I am not complete here. I this is the safest place I've ever been, but I'm not complete. And I'm in a relationship with someone right now who I really care about. And this is the big thing for me because I honor the fuck out of what this house did for me. And if I would not have had enough balls, and if Asheville would not have been so expensive, I never would have known that I had a fifth fucking gear. I never would have even seen it. I just would have just kept running in fourth gear all the time on the interstate. Just like, why is it so loud? Why is it so hot? Why is the transmission at 4,000 RPM? And I would just never know. So it's a very delicate, powerful thing, space is. And I don't see anything wrong with honoring that, with really understanding the importance of that and what that means. Because it's so transformative. My dad is very stoic always, but he's like, well, I'm hoping to die in like 4 years. I mean, 6 years is going to be kind of annoying. I was hoping to die in four. And he's in the post widow, the widow life of I'm ending, but he doesn't know what's about to hit him because he's going to sell the house and he's going to go to Knoxville and all these endorphins are going to flow and he's going to be in this travel ring. He's going to be in this new universe. And if his brain is still healthy enough at that age, I'm just being fair, this is going to rejuvenate him. It's going to reset him completely. And it's one of the most therapeutic things you can do. It's probably why you went on a trip. I mean, I'm not saying that's the sole purpose of your trip, Lori, but it's like it's such a crucial thing because you get to see how you feel about your home when you're not there. So this is a huge decision, and it's a decision most people don't make, which is why you may not be noticing that people are struggling with that because some people just call that normalcy. They just call that normal life, where they're living in an apartment complex and everything's brand new. It's all gypsum that's never been seen. It's a stark, pristine life. You've purposely set down a deposit that proves that no one will ever know that you fucking lived here, that there will be no trace of you here. And that is the kind of world that people want to see, but you don't. And you're not going to make it there. I don't want you to try. You're just wasting very precious energy. The dandelion could be just a few feet to the right and do so well in the grass right here.
I heard New England is really nice.
What?
I heard New England is really nice.
Well, yeah, I lived up in Maine. I was like,
Yes,
I was your neighbor, and
I know.
where was I born? I was born on Long Island. So I wonder, I kind of wonder about this as like people that have moved or transplanted. There's always places in one place that you kind of like resonate with,
Mhm.
I
but then
just read that.
there's no home. There's just no real home because you've lived in other places. So like my 20s, I'm home here. My 30s, I'm home here. My 40s, I'm home here. So it's like now I'm in my 60s, I have to root up, but that there's no place that's calling me. That's on, yeah, this is it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just like put everything in storage and live in my van or something,
That's part of the decision, because
you know?
you could find that energetically what you do want to do is practice reclaiming the soil, reclaiming your home, like looking at all the oppositions that you face to be there and looking at that in fresh eyes. Not I'm not trying to say be optimistic about it. I'm trying to say look at it in fresh eyes and just simply find it challenging, you know. And that's a lot of calories though. It may not I just want to remind you that sticking with it I don't think is necessarily winning all the time, that truly you can find that place. When I think about what makes a place home, it's really more about how emotionally secure I felt in that place. So I have wonderful dreams of Asheville, but it's more of like when I first arrived there. I have wonderful dreams of Chattanooga. It's more of when I was growing up there. I've gone back and it's not the same. I would never want to go back, but I've gone back thinking it would feel the same and it doesn't. And it reminded me that that's actually not, it's not a place thing. It's a posture thing. And your posture, I feel like I'm telling someone that's already knows more than this, more than I do about this, but it's like, you're vibing into your space and then your space is a battery and it either holds that charge or it dispels it. And that depends on the energy around you, your ex, the community, the rejection. I can't go through Boone without feeling a big sense of betrayal. Like there's this whole community of people. And I used to go down the river there and pretend I like to drink fucking beer again. That was what I wanted to do because I wanted to connect, and it's just like, oh, this is really filling. Oh, another one. But it's like when I drive by there, I feel that way. It's made me want to move. It's made me want to. I'm having a hard time right now because of what my brother did with my mom and the funeral, and I'm picturing that this is just going to be this land is spoiled for me because every time I even want to see my dad, there's going to be this fucked up thing, and it's just like it, it's it, this morning I got up at like 4:30 in the morning, which is not normal for me. And I came out and there's a raccoon that has a really bad jaw. I don't know what happened to him. He probably came here when he was a baby. I'm just saying that because he's remarkably trusting of me. And I come up on the porch and he's laying on the on my bar, like right outside on the main picture window. So I could see him basically. And he was just curled up there. I grab him some peanuts, I pour him some water. I walk outside. He doesn't freak out. He knows that I'm there. He walks up and he sticks his paws right in the thing of water. It's like that's his first greeting of just, oh man, thanks. This feels good. And you could see he's just feeling his fingers. He's washing his hands just to feel the clean. And then he starts picking up peanuts. And I'm looking up at the sky what he's looking at, and Orion is right there. Venus is rising. Everything's just sparkling. And I just I feel so home. Like just that's all it took. It's such a weird recipe, you know? Like it's just a weird recipe and it changes all the time. But it's worth it. It's worth finding. You're worth finding that spot, Lori. Even if it's right there. Even if it's right there.
Well, thanks for the witness. Yesenia, your hand's up. What you got?
Wow. Um, I I just want to say when I still want to reiterate, Lori, I we were in front of two viejitas that they thought that they were better than us, and I watched you just have this. I was screaming on the inside. It burned. It burned to watch you just show people love. I was just like, because I'm always walking into the room with the 1 2, like, and then just to watch you not do that and still show people love and still keep the environment like pure. It was just inspiring to me. That's why I wrote what I wrote earlier about like why am I click 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 click. I don't have to do that anymore. Like you really did show me that, and like I've been practicing even now with this new job, like knowing who I am. And I could see the hyena lick their ass, and I'm not mad anymore. And I've told you the story where every time I go back to Miami, I feel bloated. I could see the way that my parents see me, and I look different in the mirror. It's like I enter this new world, but there's these like material factors already laid in place for me because of how a mass or a collective, small collective, a small herd already hallucinates me to be. And when I walk in there, I just feel it. It's heavy. It's like I feel the gravity. And I'm just like, fuck, get me out of here. Like whenever I go back to Miami, I'm just like, I want to go back to Colorado. And Colorado doesn't feel like home, but somewhere in my body, I know it's where I need to be right now. That's all.
Wow, thanks, Yesenia. I really liked your collective diary 20 today. And do you feel that putting down the scissors and using your resonance to levitate, that's kind of what I do. I kind of like use my I have a lot of energy, so it doesn't cost me a lot to do that with people. It doesn't cost that much. It costs more to be here and be small than to be out there and be who I am. It's easier. That's much easier than coming here and having people do what they do to you in Miami, like kind of put you into this little, this is where you're supposed to be. And then you get squeezed in and then you get bloated, you know? So is it easier now that you've put those scissors down to like soften into your elevation because you're shining super super bright and you don't have to fisticuff.
I think it's also like it's that part where I don't need the scissors, but it's me being able to have the calories, like you said, to just witness and not have to act. Because the witness alone can elevate the frequency in the room. Like and it's like your witness burns, Lori, and it's understanding that when you shine that bright, you have to feel that kind of responsibility for having like strong like X-ray, like sun rays that like beam out of your eyes, out of your body. Like I noticed that that's who I am in the room. People are like, holy shit, she's watching. Holy shit, she's watching. So it's so I used to feel offended when I would rise and I'd be like, come on guys, like I'm watching you, but let's go. And it's like I don't even know where I'm going. I could see that in the people around me. So it's just that being able to compassionate that they have to emanate that like that wattage out of them in order for them to see.
Yeah, that's interesting. You know what? The interesting thing is if you stay the quiet, then they kind of tell you what it is. It's like the energy tells you. They emit a smell and then their words start coming out. Like I find that's really funny. It's like the truth is just like there. The smell's there, the truth's there, and it's like, you know, just to get to that little piece of myself right now, to get comfortable, to be at home wherever I am.
Yeah.
That is like that is going to be like what I'm going for because when I die, I'm going to be with whatever's breathing me. That's like what Clinton, thank you. I am the church.
Mm.
And I have to get in that church and just like be with that little part. And it's like the leader doesn't have to lead. It just has to stay into that center point. And then that's the leader. Like the leader just is the creation, like the creator and the creation are one with me.
Yeah.
And when I lose that like uncomfortable feeling, then the creation like collapses and I'm not creating. So it's important that I create, I have the comfort to create. And
Yeah.
so I do have that here. But I can go like a whole week and not like talk to anybody. Like,
Laura, I want to ask you something. I don't even know if this is helping this probing, but um, maybe the feelings that you're picking up, the radar that you're picking up, is actually not even as strong of a signal as it is normally, but you are in a place where you are ready to discern that signal, to hear that signal now for the first time. And so it's almost like a tinnitus.
yeah,
And if you react to the tinnitus like, oh, I got fucking tinnitus, or if you react to the tinnitus like, oh, I can hear ringing that I could not hear before. And it's annoying, which would tell me that I probably find a way to tune this out sometimes. And that maybe I'm comfortable enough, maybe I'm rich enough now to where I can afford the luxury of fucking tinnitus. It's not like good news, but it really does, I think, show you what honestly could be happening and you may not even know it. That
yeah. I
that
do
there's
feel that, James. I feel like it's like not. I'm not going as a victim to this experience because I really think it's just how good can this get. It's really it's upgrading in the experience of like, yeah, if I'm hearing this, it's time to move. There's nowhere to stay still here, you know. There's no people pleasing to there's just too many. There's no even I wouldn't even know that there's a synchronicity. I think everything is in this divine timing and it's like, oh, here's another one, here's another one, here's another one. Well, how good can that get? It's pretty good right now. And it's a lot of pag and that had to be released. And I was thinking, is this even mine? My mother liked to belong to things and like she never wanted to not be busy. She was always like I got to stay busy. I got to stay busy. I got to stay busy. And I'm like that fucking mouse. I'm like can't sleep, got to stay busy. I'm like, is this even mine? I'm like, probably it's epigenetic and it's for me to do. Like I used to have all these like roles, like I had more fraud former suits than you could even name, Yesenia. I had a whole closet costumes. And I like to costume, so it's not like I want to use my imagination for that. I think it's really going to be fun, but not taking it serious, not taking your frog former suit as seriously and needing to get the calories for like, oh, look at me. I'm whatever that is, artist, you know, musician, healer. I mean, the healer one is a big bunch of hooey. So anyhow,
wait,
anyone
wait,
else
wait,
have
wait, wait.
another topic? Because I
Yeah,
don't
I
need
have
to
a
talk
topic.
about.
I have a
Okay,
topic.
good.
Why'd you
Good.
say healer is hooey? What is that all about? That's my topic.
I kind of feel like everyone is. Everyone that's here on this planet right now has an opportunity to level up,
Hmm.
to be in a quantum state of true imagination. And so if my job is anything, it's just to witness that in others to see if I can get it to awaken. But I really think that if I said there was such a thing as a healer and I had something that I could help you heal, I I think that the guru thing is over. That like I've got something that you don't have,
Hmm.
so you have to pay me to. I'm like, I don't know how we go forward in
I'm
this new
not.
way that says that that's not the case, but people
Interesting.
are still selling their programs.
Yeah, like
I'm not gonna
what do
go
you
get a
think?
free massage though. I mean, people need. People will still need these our services, like people like us, all of us.
Yeah, but
But
what do you think about the TikTok, like people on TikTok that advertise themselves as like tarot card readers and they
I
have
think
like
they're full of
lives
shit.
and that they like basically charge you $15 on Venmo and they'll do like 20 to 25 people in one live. Like, how do you feel about that? Is that authentic or?
Yeah, I wouldn't buy into that personally, and I wouldn't feel comfortable per, putting myself out like that personally. I I don't feel like I could tell other people what to do, but I find it kind of icky, actually. We should take ourselves seriously. We deserve respect, and we worked really fucking hard. She went to Peru, you know.
I do like quantum shamanic healing. Do you think I have anyone like coming to my door? No.
Well, I know,
Not
I get
locally,
that.
not locally, no. But I don't think that you would be a good shamanic healer if people were seeing you locally, because then they would start to eat your energy.
Hmm.
The fact that you're out there and you are remote actually makes you a healer, makes you capable of being a healer, but only if you want to, because I'm not trying to talk you into that. You've rejected that label, and I think it's just a healthy exercise on the mat, Lori, that you've just did that. Whether or not you're going to pick it back up or not is there's no pressure from me on that. I mean, I definitely have something I'd rather you do, but I'm more into the fact that you've dropped this moniker. I'm more into that, and that you said the time is not right for that, because I think there's a lot of wisdom in what you say, but I also think that you are expecting everyone to be at your level, and they never will be. They never will,
Never.
ever. And the world needs a parasitic hermetic ladder always. We got a lot of slaves to process, a lot of them, and they're walking around just going bah, and they're cute as fuck. They are cute as fuck. And I'm going to tell you something, guys. There is no magic more powerful than you finding a stranger and giving them $15 and having them flip over to a row cart for you. I'm sorry, but there's just not. You're not going to find that. I get that we could disrespect that. I do. I get that we can say it's superficial or it's not deep enough.
But
But
it does the magic. You're
you,
right. It does
I
the
would call
magic. I
you a
didn't think.
high, let me finish. I would call you a high maintenance Enochian for having that attitude. And it doesn't mean that you're wrong, but it means that you require a magic that's like, okay, look, you need to start squeezing your butthole 3 days before now, and then we will begin the ceremony. And that works because it'll pull torque, because you'll think, well, I fucking squeezed my butthole for 3 days. So, and so that's a viable form of magic. It is. But so the fuck is Miss Cleo. So the fuck is any random chance that you have. Some of the darkest moments in my life was when I was visiting my mom. I didn't even know this was going to hurt. I went to visit her right after my divorce. And I've never felt so fucking hollow in the room with someone in my entire life. Just it's like really not wanting to be alive anymore. It just was such a fucking crushing hollow feeling. And I was already so depressed. The only magic that helped me, the only thing that helped was a fucking lottery ticket. That every day at 4 o'clock, I would leave the apartment and walk to the convenience store and not tell her that I was going to buy a lottery ticket. And if I would have told her, it would have destroyed the magic of what I was doing. And I think part of the reason why a home is so powerful is that you need to put secrets in there. And if you have more secrets in there than what's outside of your home, your ex being down the street, the community around you that's rejected you, all of that will be like 1 of 10 on the volume scale compared to how loud your house is. And I think part of the way we do that is we have secrets. There's drawers in everyone's bedroom that are embarrassing. And those drawers are the altar of you. That the sacred shame that you have is kept in a drawer in a house, because that's literally the meaning of your house, of your home, of your power, of your cosmology. This is your patriarchal bones, your sacred scripture that you carry. And I've noticed, Lori, that when I increase my inner life in here, which means I had to start writing, I had to start live streaming, I had to start doing all the things that I did not want to do, I don't even hear the outside world unless I have to drive to Boone. And if I drive to Boone, I feel it. My pot dealer lives in Boone. He's probably the last remnant of someone who's connected to that world. And I'm so glad he picked me instead of her. But it's the hardest thing that I have to do is just that. And it's actually not hard. So it's I've come a long way, but it used to be impossible. And the way I feel in Boone is how I used to feel all the time, and I would tell you I was feeling good. I used to tell you that was good. I used to tell you that was I live a good life. And I would have no idea of what was waiting more, of how much deeper it was. When I picture what other people think I do versus what we really do, like the depth I've had with you guys, it's never even come close with those friends in Boone. Like not even fucking close. Like it's not even fucking close. And I still get to hear people that are like, well, you can't connect on Zoom. And I'm just like, okay, well, I guess you can't play with sticks either then, because this shit works. It
Yes,
works.
yes,
And one of the
yes.
reasons why this mycelium network was built, I think, Lori, was for people like you that Gaia knew we need remote authenticity. Do you
Yes,
understand? I need to invent
yes.
remote authenticity, is what Gaia said. That if we have remote authenticity berries, we're going to be able to knock this shit out of the park. And that's where we are now. And it's a brand new landscape, and you and I are manifest fucking destiny for Atlantis. We are here to create these new civilizations, these new modes. Some of you are going to outgrow me, and you're going to go out and start your own thing. And I want you to know I fucking support you. I want you to lead me. I want you to leave me in the dust. I think this is so crucially important for what's happening. And I don't know of anyone else who's doing these things. I don't even know if anyone else is doing like a fucking dojo. Like it's just like everything's one sided, you know? It's one person everyone watches. I feel the same way you do, Lori. Time's not ready for that, but I still have to keep live streaming. I have to. I'd be burning the only bridge that got people across if I stopped doing that. And you would too. You'd be
So,
doing the same thing.
so maybe as this like new Aquarian age, there's a new type of healer that's doing like I feel like James, you are a healer doing this dojo. That this is a practice. I've never felt more compassion or witness, or I've never gotten close, like this close to this ancient thing. So, how could you want to withhold it from others? I don't, I don't withhold from others. So, why wouldn't we all feel we deserve to have current for that, currency for that?
And to add to the healing aspect, sorry it's late, guys. It's good to see everybody. But the healing is it always happens in the person themselves, and a healer in that sense just makes the space for it, right? But anyone who understands how healing actually works, it's the individual choosing to be healed, and that's why I think that I totally get what you're saying with the labels, Lori, because I struggle with that as well. It's like labels tend to define in these sort of ways, but the the thing is about taking on the onus of being a healer and like calling yourself a healer in that sense, and not it takes on this maybe this perspective or this onus or this posture you think, but the thing is it's like our healing, I think what it does, it's just us sharing our stories, I think is what it is, just our experiences, because that's what allows other people to see. So that's a big thing, James, about the fact that you're saying that, because I recognize this too. A lot of times it's one-sided. It's one person, and this idea of the mentor, right? A mentor mentee perspective. It's like I'm the one with all the wisdom. Let me transmit it, not realizing that it's actually something that's replete through the room, and like we're all in it together, and like the real growth happens. And that's what I really love about this, and that I've not seen anywhere else, is it's not it's a collective. It's we're doing this together, right? I mean, the growth, the healing that I've gotten from you, Lori, is you sharing your experience, and it's like that's what is like affected me and everybody here, and yeah, and I'm definitely getting to a point where I'm having to get comfortable with, let's just say, accepting labels or not worrying about what I think the labels mean. Do you know what I mean? Because I've definitely sure, especially when I see, like you mentioned, someone who might call themselves, like, let's say, a healer, and I'm seeing them and I'm like, there's a lot of pomp in it in this kind of way, and so I start to think, well, I don't want to be that, and Christian is a very big one for me. I see what I see as people calling themselves Christian in the world, and I'm like, I'm not that, but it's almost letting them own the term instead of saying that it these labels don't really belong to anyone, and us sort of not being afraid to put on the label or take off the label. Really, what I found is willing to accept the label allows me to conversate in a way, like if I'm talking to someone who calls themselves a healer and I'm not afraid of that term, right? I can now engage the conversation from a space where I'm like, okay, what is a healer then? So now it's not them trying to defend themselves as a healer and me as a non-healer. It's, well, let's have a conversation about what healing actually is. That's where I'm trying to get to.
Maybe the
But
issue
Yeah.
is our identity, is people identifying with healer. Like maybe the mode healer is quite normal and we need to keep that. And that you
well,
enter into a
James,
mode, right?
I think we're all medicine, in here. So healing is what Brad says is into the individual, but everyone in this, we're all creating medicine. Like as artists, you create the flow state is what we're all continually trying to talk about, where we lose the effect of others. And I think that ringing of the ears is when you're bringing something into the room. They're feeling you and you're hearing your presence. And so we're not necessarily healers, but we are the medicine. You know,
Mhm.
that's all I have.
Oh, I like that a lot. Yeah, because I feel uncomfortable saying that I'm a healer, even though I'm third degree Reiki. But um, it's like, I don't know, it's like saying your husband is your lover. It's just kind of icky.
Yeah, I don't like this thought, guys. I mean, it's fine. We can keep saying we're going to embrace humility and that none of us are healers, but to witness is to heal. To see someone is to heal. You're regenerating right the fuck now. Like all of you are regenerating right now. You're rejecting the responsibility that comes along with it, and I think the shame that you have with it. I'm being very judgmental, but just hear me out because I was trying to say this before. I think the only shame that you have with it is that you don't like how people have identified with it. That they've said, "I am the healer. I am the that which heals." That's all. And because you've noticed that when they identify with it, they're not healing anymore. They're parasitically requiring you to do something. But your mode as a healer is absolutely required. It happens anyway. You're not fooling me. You're not fucking fooling me. None of you is even close to fooling me that you're not a healer. And
Yeah,
you if you can get into that mode, it's just a posture, is it not? And that if you enter into a mode, Nate brought this up the other day. He was like, James, how do people sometimes people come to you for answers? And I told Nate, well, I'm so susceptible to people thinking that I'm smart that I'm not even going to notice that, Nate. So there's a flaw. But the second flaw, Nate, is even more profound, which is that why would I not allow that mode if someone needs that mode from me? Guys, this is a big question. And you may not be ready to answer it because I've been there before. I've been in your shoes where I've been like, well, fuck that. I'm not going to walk around telling people I'm a, and I was a guy had a kidney stone once. I didn't know. His name was Pug or some weird shit. And he was this hippie guy in Nashville. And someone said, my friend's sick. And I met a Pug before. And I just went and just say hey to him. And I touched his side and he freaked out because he said I touched him exactly where it hurt. And he started to say that I could feel the essence of where he hurt. And in that moment, I wanted to reject him and say, "Well, I can't help you." But I luckily, I wasn't doing what you fucks were trying to do just now, which is to say, "Oh, sorry, I'm not a fucking healer, Pug. Looks like you're just fucked, man, because of look how fucking cool and enlightened I am." And instead, I just shut my fucking mouth. I shut my fucking mouth. And I sat there and said, is this how it works? And I became a Reiki master in 3.7 fucking seconds. And I did it well because I shut my fucking mouth and I let the flow state go. Now, did I let that go to my head later? Of course I did.
But
Why
only
the
for a
fuck
few
would I
minutes.
not let that go to my head? I just fucking found someone's pain through intuition and they fucking said that I fucking healed them. Why would I not? Of course. I had like a giant heart on for like 2 weeks, like spiritually. Like I was a giant boner of just like, I am a healer in Asheville. Look at me now. I'm going to wear a Jim Morrison necklace and walk around without a shirt. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Of course I did that. I deserve to do that. You know why? Because I shut the fuck up. Because I knew when to shut the fuck up and just let that shit flow, man. And after a while, I'll catch my ego. After a while, I'll be humiliated because I'll say something stupid or I won't pronounce woo way in front of my girlfriend's friend or some shit like that. I'll be checked, right? I'll be checked, no problem. But right now, I'm going to fucking soar because who the fuck cares? We're all healers. Deal with it. So it's you may not be able to afford this evangelical feeling I'm telling you about. It may be too expensive, and that's okay. But it's there. It's valid. It's valid. Lori, you have no choice. You're fucked. You have to do this too. You already do.
Yeah, I think I like to play that. I'll throw myself on the mat for that one. I like to think I'm invisible, and it's not true.
You're
And
not.
it's like, and I just think that I'm going to level up now, maybe have more fun at it. It's like, I don't think it has to be so serious. So, like, maybe it's that serious thing. Like, yes, I know, James, that I can do that, right? But that whole, like, I can do that, like that seriousness to it. It's like, why would you want to ruin a person's healing if that's what that's that torque of belief, right? So it's the placebo. They did that. You did that. That was like, it was almost divine that happened. And it's like, why would you want to mess with it? But like, it's kind of like, well, it's just the playground and I'm going to play healer now. But like, you want to play? That would be how I'd like to approach it. More like, yeah, I have that, but I don't have to. I remember coming in here in the beginning, and I want to call on Nancy, and thinking I had something to help you guys with all of my experiences and all of this stuff. And I was like, no, I don't really think that. I learned more by listening than I did about talking about what and who and what, my initiations or whatever. So that's the part where, you can get like whatever that thing is, the ego.
Well, only a fake healer talks about how great they are, and so I think your humility is good, but don't hide your light under a bushel. Kind of, I get the middle ground there.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's
What
kind
if
of
I
like,
was to, what if I was to tell you that you're in charge of who a fake healer is and not them?
true that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is really what I'm trying learning in this moment about that fact of like in that context, if you don't like the definition or whatever, exactly what you're saying there, James. It's like, well, we have every fucking right to step in and say, you know, throw our 2 cents into
All
the
the
ring.
torque is coming from you, which
Yeah,
you should be able to go up to a 3-year-old and say, I need you to break this egg on my head and say, the power of Christ compels you. And if the 3-year-old does it with enough torque, you should be able to use that.
Technically,
I'm
yeah.
waiting for the objection, Miss. Oh, we're not worthy to be healers. And meanwhile, I just trumped you with a 3-year-old who has a fucking egg.
you did.
Well, I really do know that you can do this limpio stuff and like take an egg and like it extracts everything from your body. So I think I should go down with a whole dozen
There's my
like
intuition
farm
again, because I didn't know that. See, I'm doing it
farm
right
eggs. I'm
now.
going to go downtown with a whole thing of farm eggs. And then the other thing you could do is take a glass of water and then you could crack the egg and then you can divinate what the frick was extracted from the person. And they do that in Peru with little children when they have a trauma, so that they don't have to keep that trauma for their whole rest of their life.
That's
Like the
exactly what
Western,
I'm talking
Yeah,
about. It's all you need is a
I love that.
richer and astringent, something that has a little lure with a shiny hook and a little flash thing. That's all it takes. This is all it takes to trigger the torque. And if it's not enough torque, you need to say this came from ancient Turkey and it fell out of the butt of an elephant who was born in the dawn, and that's what it takes. It doesn't take expertise. It doesn't take humility. It takes whatever the fuck trinket works. It's all you. It's all you. That's all I got.
well, okay. Thank you. Hey, Nancy, your hand's up. What you got there, girl? Good to see you.
You too. Good to see everybody. Good care, Lori. And I have days, like they're in and out of what you described. But being putting myself in this whole healing my body thing, because I'm not going back to Babylon medicine at all. But I had a cool experience when I had my port out. So they called me 2 days prior. Well, you have to have anesthesia, blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, can't I just have a local for that? Because so I just had a local. And I had forgotten that scar tissue like grows all around this device. I mean, it's really cool, but it like your body, it becomes a part of your body. So I just felt some pulling and some yanking, and it was really no big deal. But when she said it's out, because during the process I was just in. I wanted to let you know, Deb, I love the Heart Math Institute. I've been doing that for many years now. So I was doing my heart math, and she said, well, it's out, it's done. And inside I'm like, oh, it's done. And my whole body just had this pylo electricity experience just out of nowhere. And I'm like, oh, it was like I just said it's done. And so since then, this is just me. I've just been having some very visceral. I can like tune into anything now. If I'm in my heart, I know it sounds corny, but
God.
tuning into ourselves. I'm just really trying to like feel. They got a lot to say, they really have a lot to tell me. I don't know how they're telling me, but the more the more I go a little slower. Actually, I literally will slow myself down on purpose. And that will help me connect better with whatever I'm doing. I mean, I'm like having this fun, and even like I'm challenging Larry, because it's like I don't have to be doing really much of anything to just find just some bliss and a little bit of joy, and I'll take a nap, and then I'll get up, and we're actually finding out we have a good team with what he can do in the yard that doesn't hurt his back, and vice versa. So we're coming up with things to do. Anyway, the Saturday ride, I will comment. It was so good. You were talking about the piezoelectricity, and I'm learning something about attention, not intention, but where I put my attention. I'm just feeling into that, guys, and it's like there's just some real energy there. Intention's good. Anyway, I don't know why I said that, but I'm having fun, and I've been selfish as shit, and it feels good.
Good.
I mean, it feels good. I'm loving me like for the first time ever, and it's great.
Excellent.
And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for this community. Absolutely.
So Nancy, do you feel like that now that the port and everything, this is like a great experience, just you sharing it. Do you feel like you're really at home in yourself now?
More than I have ever been, and it's just because I'm putting the attention on my intricacies. I mean, I don't even know how to explain it. Like literally, like, and you don't have to do it like for an hour. I'll take 5 minutes and I'll do some breathing. The breathing stuff. There's more to breathing, I think, too. And it's not like we have to do anything, ritualistic. It's just like getting us back in the moment. And I'm learning that I'm going to be part like this, and then the human, and I'm becoming friends with that. And like there is a blend there. It's interesting. I'm less judgmental. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know if I answered
So
your
no,
question.
I think it's tied into the selfishness that you have an entitlement, the selfishness that has brought you home,
Hmm?
to that you get to do whatever you want to do when you want to do. And so I don't think you're leaking, that leaking the empathy when you go through that internal experience. Do you think that it just brings you into that place, into yourself, that you're selfish with yourself, and then that gives the gift to the world, and because you're shining in bliss.
Well, I this is a good thing to remember. So when I got home, I like took a nap or lay down, and actually I'm learning just to spend time with me. Sometimes with some soft music, but just sitting with me. And something generated. I don't know how these agencies. I mean, I'm really realizing, wow, my agencies, they've never stopped. I mean, since I was on birth. I mean, they just been pointing me in the right direction. Even anyway, um, I had an experience where, and it was like a half hour off and on crying and feeling like the separation that I caused myself from my own light. I mean, it felt so like the separation that I did, that I think we all came here to feel about, yeah. And it was so deep. I mean, I couldn't hold. I would come out of it and process, and then I would weep, and it was just like, wow, it was huge. And then it was like it was finished, and I'm like, oh, I'm not separating from my light ever again. And it helped me remember, oh, I have been, I'm like this. My last name's Beam. I mean, I am. I'm like this light. Um, and I always have been, and I dimmed it for a while, and anyway, just to fit in, and no more. I'm not. No more.
Well, I'm glad you got that story in, because that's what I was feeling into you. And it was what it's kind of like, I think everyone has a little key to our stories, like there's a little piece that you just gave me, like a homecoming. So thank you for that, Nancy. Wow. I don't know if this is universal, but I see a lot of, there was in our town, there was a 40-year-old woman that was murdered around the same time as Charlie Kirk. And she worked at the Jockey Lot flea market. And the funeral was with all of this like underworld of our community. Like the flea market brings in, you know, people that, well, she also worked at the Waffle House. Has anyone ever been to a Waffle House? I can barely go to a Waffle House because I get so much emotions. Like, how can you live your life like wanting to work at the Waffle House?
You
And
think people want to work at the Waffle House, Lori?
they do, they do. These people, like, it's like their family,
Yeah.
And like the Jockey Lot is like a family. And there was like more people that showed up for this woman. She got murdered, and she was like this hard ass freaking angel. And I was like, the emotion that was like surrounding this whole experience, and then what was going on with like James's lives and everything. And I was like, there is some kind of awakening that's happening inside of like murder for ideology or something. James, I'm not brave enough to pass the memes on. I was like, Brad was so brave this week. James was like so brave this week on Facebook, just like putting it out there. And I was like, I'm just dealing with my, like my personal little, like trying to get through but I'm just thinking collectively there was something that was happening, like psychically, that was like super, super strong. And it was like, it hit this town like, um, unbelievable, because the people that woman touched, nobody touches. They were the untouchables. There was like 5 people in wheelchairs with no legs. there's a lot of diabetes and stuff like that. And this underprivileged population
Yeah.
that goes to the Jockey Lot flea market. I'm like, so I don't know.
There's also a strong, strong vein of sovereignty in that Waffle House community. And I actually love Waffle House. Everything about it. Like just every single thing about it. My whole life I've always found it to be one of my favorite places to go. Um and during COVID, that was one of the only national corporations that were like, "Fuck you, take your vaccine and shove it up your ass." And it's made me respect them more. And the community that you're talking about there, that diehard, sometimes meth infused community, is very real. It's very gritty, but there's so much drama there. There's so much passion. And if you're in there for an hour and a half, you're going to know who the alpha is, who the waitress is there, who's in charge. You're going to know who her ex boyfriend is and what a piece of shit he is. You're going to know all the stories. And it's such, to me, it's one of the most special places that you can find, at least in the South. It's just this really rare gem. And I respect the sovereignty that's there. It's a lot like Africa, Lori. I mentioned this about Africa, but it's like I don't feel sorry for the people in Africa. I feel sorry for me because I'm not able to pull as much dilation. I need a lot of other shit, for me to feel dilated, and they don't. They're just I just need to not have my feet chopped off, and I need to enjoy the top of this truck as I'm watching the stars as we're moving across the Serengeti. It's like a different kind of mode, and the Waffle House always reminds me of that. Like it brings that back. The last time there's one in Boone, and I would go there a lot when I was doing the Burning Man. I had a crew, so I was always feeding them. So we were going there, and there was a woman outside that had Tourette's, and every time we would walk up, she would cuss us out. She would just rip into us, just cuss us out. And I remember being schooled about how uncompassionate I was. That it actually turned out someone in our crew knew who this was, and I was ashamed that I didn't realize that she had Tourette's, that I was so offended. It's like such a beautiful raw place to find a lot. I'm not trying to defend the Waffle House. I actually wanted to bring up a topic which is in relation to you, Lori, which is about just your house, which is that when I say put more secrets inside, if you can find things, I believe in secrets as a form of building borders, of building boundaries. And the secrets are a really creative way of implementing this. If you were to, I'm just making this up off the top of my head. If you were to bury a matchbox car in your yard between you and your ex's house, as an example, this is like something, it sounds kind of nonchalant, but it's like there's really a lot of cleverness to things like this because you're just assigning the furniture and just the art of you just taking time out of your schedule to do something that's kind of weird is really all it takes. We don't have to go full like Deb's version of Enochian when I was making fun of her earlier. Like we don't have to go full on, it takes 7 days. It really, I think it's more about novelty, that when you're doing something that's novel, that's so queer, the original version definition of queer, that's so peculiar, it has a lot of magical value to it. And a lot of times that can be used to reclaim a home that's surrounded by a lot of kudzu, surrounded by a lot of other things that are encroaching on it. Because I would actually say, Lori, that you're probably more New Orleans than you realize, than you think. That Cajun is probably you, is probably filtering through you more than you even know. And that this resistance that you feel is really just more about you haven't created the vessel that's private enough for that stuff to like really fully gestate in there. You wouldn't feel like an outsider if you buried four matchbox cars. If you if you whatever, I don't know what it is, Lori. You're the magician, but I think that after a while that the things that that you're pumping into your house, into your internals, would become so much more dilating that wouldn't be able to feel that you don't belong there anymore. There's just so much happening around you. And just on the tail of this, if you go out into your community and start placing things and finding those things that you placed 3 days later, this is a very powerful form of magic because you're spreading your ownership of things, and it gives you a psychological feeling that you're more immersed there, that you can change the environment by placing a matchbox car in between this tree, and you can come back a week later and it's still there. This is, in my mind, this is better than Enochian magic because it's peculiar magic. It's exercising the novelty of what would otherwise be mundane, because you would never go to Hardee's, but here's a Hardee's, and you're going to put this thing right here, and now it becomes a secret shrine, a sacred shrine that exists between you and it, right? It's those kinds of things. That's all I got. But this is like real life, how to reclaim your ground like that.
Well, it's interesting. I am considered like an outsider artist, so doing outsider things is
You're
normal.
not considered when you are one, love.
Well, there you go. And I think that putting that as a little practice, as like Renee always inspires me with her play. So it would be like a form of play magic. And I think it's a really awesome idea to find home again. And I don't really say, like I'm saying, it's not about my home, it's about me inside of my own home, like here, right here. Nancy was pointing to it. It's like there's some joy when you just do what you want to do selfishly, not
You're
for
saying
any,
doing
not for anybody else, like just for me. Like even if I leave little pieces of art all over town, I could do that. That would be more like a fun adventure than making up the story that I don't belong. Oh, I'm so sick of it.
We used to do these random acts of art things where we would make a little piece of art and then leave it in some place for somebody to find it. And then there'd be a little note on it. Says, this is a random piece of art for you, blah, blah, blah. Anyway.
I used to do that. I used to live little like gem treasures under trees and then watch the children find them, like little crystals and stuff like that. So it's probably time for me to go out and start to do that again. So Yesenia, your hands up.
Yeah, I talking about the whole invisibility thing, I resonate with that because for the longest time I have felt invisible, but recently I've been discovering that it's not that I am or feel invisible. It's that sometimes the witness is so overbearing. I want an invisibility cloak. Like I want to just be able to like be in the room but not be seen as hard. And that was always so uncomfortable for me. Like for instance, like when people stare at me as I'm doing something and I could just feel the tension of their witness and I start stumbling and I start dropping stuff and I become this like female Mr. Bean and I'm like almost a clown and I see everyone just like laugh at me and then it gets worse and it's just this momentum that keeps building up and I just have to take a moment and I honestly want to take a moment and be invisible and go back in time and erase that moment, but it already happened. And I'm just trying to learn to be comfortable with that self-criticism of like, oh my God, you're a fool, or oh my God, you're so stupid, and try to like recreate the self-talk of and the self-soothing too. Like that's been so hard. Like that's been just increasingly like, how do I keep being so nice? How do I keep being nicer to myself? Like yesterday in front of my whole crew, I like put the button on the sink and I turned on the sink and I got busy training two people. And when I came back, there was like a cartoon. There was like soap and water leading to the back of the house, and all the other employees are walking in, and I'm like, oh my God, like this is so embarrassing. But then I had to transmute that whole moment because I'm the leader, and all the belief plasmas placed on, hey, she's the one. So I was like, if this is the worst thing that happens today, that's not a horrible day. And then, we just kept to our regular scheduled program. But it was just that whole moment. It felt so dense. Like I felt the gravity, like I was elevating and I just felt myself plop to the ground, like ass first.
I relate to that wanting to be invisible. And I was having compassion for all the people that, like Yesenia, that is in with the public all day long. It's like next, 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 and being really present. And then you've got all of the employees doing the same thing. It's like there's a lot of
Yeah.
Waffle House stuff. Like it's just like a Waffle House all day long.
You could argue that the propensity for the younger generation compared to me to wear headphones in public is exactly what Yesenia is talking about. It's the first time we actually acknowledge that witness is a feelable energy. And we're calling it a weakness, but no, it's a perception. It's a new perception is what it is. And the Orthodox is gonna call it weakness because they don't fucking have that. And it bothers them. And so they can't comprehend what why that would feel like that. So the next time you feel that, it's a red pheasant, and it sounds like you did that well, Yesenia. But the quest is I'm being witnessed. This is what it feels like. Feels like this, and that's the only Enochian, like that's the most technical thing you would have to do is to just acknowledge that I'm being witnessed, and this is what it feels like,
Well,
and
I can tell you from my
that's
my
why the
experience.
headphones help. Go ahead, Brett.
Right. I was going to say from my experience playing music in the gigs, the first few times I did the cover gigs in the restaurants, that and being on stage wasn't new to me, but being in that context was. And the first few times that I completely just shit the bed, like right a couple of right in the middle of the song, I just lost it completely. And the entire restaurant, the entire floor feels it as well as I do. And you talk about you center, you want to hide, right? Exactly. You feel the flush over your face, you're embarrassed. And going through that though, like going through that and realizing two things: a, that okay, it doesn't kill you, but b, that everybody in the room feels my uncomfortableness. But the second that I become comfortable with, yeah, that yep, drop that one and picked it up and went on, something else happened as far as the audience in the room. Like everybody else in the room was just like amazed that that didn't kill me, but I had to go through the mortification of feeling like the first few times that, oh my God, did everybody just see that? Can I go back in time a few minutes? Having to experience that a few times is what got me to the place where now I, that's just it. You start to master that aspect of like, and now I'm not even afraid of missing a note or dropping a word or anything like that because I've already seen that aspect of it. I mastered that energy. I'm not afraid of it. And again, the people in the room, like you said, they're looking at you as the leader. And when they see something that we all feel the same way, oh, I'd be so embarrassed by that. And you can experience it and not be embarrassed by it, but own it and handle it, and then you know flip right back up on your feet from that. They see that too, and it's like then it's like there's an awe in that too.
Yeah, it's too
And
bad that we can't use the word healer, but that's really what a supervisor is doing. The supervisor is the healer. They're the
Right, you guys can
designated.
say it.
I know, I'm just playing. I'm just teasing. But I want it to burn a little bit because it really should be. This should be more. We should be more willing to own this. But that's all a supervisor is. You're the shaman, and it's really the gift. It's the only time you give them a gift. It's the only time they can actually feel comfortable is they need you to mess up. So yeah, they're waiting for you to mess up, but that's because they need to make sure that you're worthy of being the healer, right? So they need to see you heal. They need to see that. So the if you wanted to understand yourself on a deeper level, then you would be holding yourself accountable for doing that, Yesenia, knowing that this is the only way that you could seize power properly and do a good job. Is I'm going to have to flood the floor right now, and that this is the only thing that's going to get me there, and everything else is just dress rehearsal, and you can pretend that's real, but until you go out there and until you really fuck up, you're not performing yet. You're just waiting for that fuck up to happen so then you can start performing, you know? So it's such an alchemical seat to be healer, to be in that role, to be in the center of that, you know? It's a hot seat that I had that young, I think, being in that choir and going all over the world and stuff. I had that at a young age, so it I learned from a very young age how just exciting that felt. So to me, it was always just a pure, it's go time. Like, like, yeah, it's time to be on stage. It was more of like that. It was just, this is the only time I'm going to be able to feel this dilated in this particular way. This is exciting. And the fact that you have a stage that has a set time is, I think, so important to the ritual. It's why I want us to keep our Saturday night rides and our dojos in time, because it when you squeeze that, you want regret. You want people to say, "Oh, I should have spoke up sooner," or "Oh, we didn't get a chance to say that." You want that constant sense of, why was I not compressing more into that space? And that's because your art's time at this point, and it's a special kind of alchemy. So great stuff.
Yeah, like for instance, it's like you said, like I have an archetype. My archetype is the young supervisor. Like people love it because it's like a novelty. You could tell they're like it's like they want you to fuck. They want you to slit your wrist and heel in front of them and be like, watch, clean. And it amazes them. Like I could see that it impresses the older folk that want to stay. It's like it's a weird magic. I'm learning to play with it. It's like a bunch of Tinkerbell pixie dust right at my feet. At first, I thought it was lava, but now I see it for what it really is.
Right on, Yesenia. We have about 8 minutes left, and I know there's maybe a new person that might want to talk. Yay.
Hi.
It's good to
Uh,
see you on camera, so go ahead and introduce yourself.
yeah, first time caller, long time listener. My name's also James. I, follow James True on Twitter in like 2018, and he did a massive favor for me getting my head out of my ass about QAnon all those years ago. And you know, the Charlie Kirk stuff made me tune back in, like Donald Trump retweeting a Q plus in his AI generated hand. Like I just feel like I just needed the support of the person and the people that I got reasoned well enough to get to help me when I needed it most. Definitely provided a really, really great turning point for me. No pun intended. The Just on the note of visibility and invisibility, and to James's note about people wearing headphones too much, I every day I drive to work through Burlington, Vermont. I drive by UVM, University of Vermont, and I see all these kids wearing earpods and headphones all the time, and it bothers me because I'm like so obnoxious. Like I love rolling all my windows down, putting my Subaru's volume to 35, and like they need to hear this song. Like I'm so proud of this song that I found. Like please listen to it. And they people, yeah, they just are super sheltered. And then, back on the note of the healer, not wanting to call ourselves a healer, I feel like there's always just like intention, so like a doctor's always a doctor, like he got his certificate, like until that's taken away from him, and they might be doing significant, big pharma's bidding the entire time, but it's the intention that matters a lot. I don't think, it kind of reminds me of the conversation, like who's a true Christian? Like I'm not particularly religious, but I find it really interesting that Christians are constantly kind of whipping each other, self-flagellating because like nobody's a true Christian 100%. I kind of love that. Um, yeah, well, yeah, thank you for hearing me.
I think
Well,
a Christian actually says something like, "Well, I tried to live up to being a Christian." So you can't walk around saying I'm just as good as Jesus.
So yeah, and you can try to be a healer, and you can do some real damage in the process of trying to be a healer.
Yeah.
And that's how it goes sometimes, and you learn and you become better. And just on that note of like the analogy of the sink running two over and the bubbles pouring out of the sink, it's like, well, that also happened for a reason, like you were trying to wash dishes and supervise at the same time and train two people, like you're juggling too much, Yesenia. Like it's just interesting that this all kind of wraps back around to leadership and intention.
well, it's good to hear from you, James. And welcome here, and I hope you come back. It's a great way to I don't know if I exampled it, but put yourself on the mat for places that you're leaking prana. And that the way that this news cycle and the triggering of where you can see where people are losing a lot of prana, to really be what we're supposed to be, which is what we are. And I would say that whatever that is, it's real, it's authentic, and it can help people. And I've learned so much from being here. So I'm really grateful that you're here. And
Yeah, I loved
yeah.
Blueprints of Mind Control. That was the one book I read, and then there was the Dragon book that I think I read as well. But I did have one burning question for Mr. James True. Just the definition of one's cosmology.
Yeah, I wish that I keep thinking that word just explains itself. I mean, cosmology is just, your version of how you think the cosmos typically is associated with how it was formed. Like it's more of like your creationistic idea of how you got here. But I mean it more of your worldview is more of like a way of tuning your posture, that you can't focus on 33 vertebrae and memorize the pitch, roll, and yaw of each one. The only way to do that is to have a cosmology. And the cosmology has a certain amount of pride in your spine. And so that would focus you on the amount of space between the notes. So that would kind of tune each of your things, and then the way that you were aligned would control your pitch. So you got your X, your Y, and your Z. And that I'm trying to suggest to people that your imagination is allowing you uh, a a trillion button mouse, that you're on a desktop and you can click a trillion things at once through the interface of your cosmology, of your worldview, because your worldview would be really just the mapping of all your pores being either opened or closed to give you this reality. Just the other day, we talked about angels and demons. And I want you to picture that the reason why the Gnostics saw an angel as having a lot of eyes is because your pores are eyes, and the pores of your skin are you becoming angelic when you are open to the world and you are digesting God. All of your pores maybe would be open or dilated. And the opening of these pores allows you to pull information in. So, how would you control all of your pores? Because you don't have time to go around assigning them each. You can't twitch a muscle on all those pores, but you can hold a cosmology. And this cosmology causes you to kundalini or erect, resonate through breath, through thinking, through positivity, through torque, through placebo, through immunity, that all these things are the only way that you could control your body. I'm trying to get people to realize that cosmology is somatic movement, somatic posture. So your worldview is really more setting all of the, oh, Kuan Yin has all these mudras, and it's like that. It's the mudras on every part of you. So your religion is that, and you map to those things, and you learn religion from someone else. You're really just learning a posture, and the only way you can memorize that posture is to say, the Lord, just as an example, the Lord my God is my Savior, I shall not want, or no matter what I do wrong, He's going to forgive me. So I get to be a piece of shit. Or this is a different cosmology that's going to give you pride in some places, but maybe not pride in other places. And then different cosmologies. The devil, if you're in America and you start to say, I want to be a Satanist, you, this is a posture where you're very tall.
Rock the boat.
You're accepting all the power that everyone else rejects, becomes your religion, because you are the only antenna that's willing to pick up that stuff. So how do you pick that up? Through cosmology. You would have to have a cosmology to create the antenna to collect or reject the energy you need. And this will be the only way that you could picture your pores and open and close them in whatever way is necessary for you to level up, or more importantly, sometimes level down. So you demonify yourself by closing your pores, and you angelify yourself by opening your pores. Both of these are forces. One's not bad, one's not failure. It's how you fly. So if you want to levitate, if anyone goes diving, you already know exactly what I mean. I don't even have to tell you. Because when you're diving, you're learning buoyancy. And when you learn buoyancy, it is one of the most beautiful experiences you can have. Because you can hover inches above a reef and you're not touching it. And you know how important it is that you don't touch it. And somehow you're using subtle energy. And most of the subtle energy is just the buoyancy. I don't know how it works, but you learn it instantly. You develop that cosmology. So what is an athlete? The elite athlete is the one who has learned a cosmology through psychological sports medicine, right? Through a practiced, focused thought training of I am the best. Mike Tyson tells you this.
He was hypnotized.
Yes, he did everything, right? His entire vision,
Right.
his entire spectrum of who he was, what the world was, what it meant to him, who was going to eat it.
Gosh.
That all of these are cosmology, and they create the vehicle which is either going to do big things or not do big things. And you get to choose that every day. No, I'm sorry, you don't get to. You do choose that, but you insist that you have no control over any of this.
I got a ton out of that. Yeah. Thank you. That was awesome. Holy
Oh,
shit.
and if in Peru, if you go for shamanic training, they'll say you're learning the cosmology.
Oh, okay.
So it's the way of like using it as like I have embodied the initiation of this cosmology of shamanism. So anyhow, in that way, it's defined in lots of different terms. We're over. This has been a really wonderful dojo.
Mm-hmm.
So glad that everyone came, and I'm so glad you came, James, and came with your full open vessel, because once you shared, it was like, whoop, here he is. Glad to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
So, yep. If anyone would like to unmute and say goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
I love y'all.
Love you.
All a bunch of
Hey,
healers.
guys.
You're nothing but a bunch of healers.